What's going on YouTube? So today I made a lo-fi beat and used my guitar in it to help spice it up and wanted to show you what I do when I make these types of beats, how I go about them, and the importance of playing or using a played type of instrument in your beats. This could be anything from bass, guitar, or even finger drumming your drums out to help give them a more human feel. So we're gonna show you how I made this kind of beat here. So let's get into it. So for starters, like I do in all my beats, I started off with the chords. That is the most important thing I feel like sets the mood, sets the tone, and what type of song you're gonna do. We wrote this in the key of C sharp minor at 90 BPM. To start, I found this really nice piano that we've got going on. We'll take a listen. And then I layered that with this pad over here. So the pad sounds a little like this. And then to kind of combine the sound, we grouped them together and added a glue compressor. What that does here is help kind of tie them together and create a more compressed or a more tied together instrument. Sounds like this now. For my bass, what I did is I made my own kind of like 808 or respace inside Serum using a sine wave. Not too much is needed to make this. Just roll off some of that high end, boost some of the low end frequencies, add a little distortion and compression, and then it'll sound like this. So the reason I use this is because it's not heard as much as it will be felt. So it kind of just gives the presence of bass without overtaking from the chords. Next, what we've got going on is a little bit of percussion throughout the track, such as this. And then we made our wonderful plucks that we've got going on. So we ended up using Soul Jam Sessions, which had a pretty cool vibraphone type sound, had some delay, some reverb, and we got this. And then later on, we do use it an octave higher. So what that is going to do is keep the listener's ear as it changes throughout the track and just show that little bit of character that we can do. Next, I've got a lo-fi kit that I have going on here. So with this, I do not usually like using only programmed drums. Reason why is because a lot of it doesn't have a room sound or a lot of character to them to give that live feel or live recording. With that, we added thermal to add a little bit of distortion and a little bit of room effect. And then Big Sky is a reverb plugin that is going to add a little bit more of a hall feel to it. So dry, our drums sound like this. And then with our effects chain, we have this. Next thing I made is we have exhale going on. So this adds some human voice effect to the overall track. So in any track or any song I do, we as humans love the human voice and want to hear that. So even if we're using it for purely background instead of like our main instrument, such as like a guitar or something else, this helps fill that gap. So in the background of some parts, you'll hear this. And then when we combine all those together, we're going to get this sound here. Now, after I did all of this, I thought the song was still lacking one more piece of ingredient in this. So for that, I decided to grab my guitar, play a couple notes, and play a nice little lick here, which I'll show what I did for that. So what we have here is we are using Guitar Rig 6 from Native Instruments. You can just go DI and use your basic effects if you want in your DAW, but the reason why you want an amp simulator is that is going to give you a more natural and more realistic sound to your guitar. By itself, it'll sound pretty dry and it kind of sounds bad in some cases, but this gives it that exact amp sound to it. So we ended up jamming out over this and just kind of making something on our own. So right away, you can tell how that gives a more human feel and what that does for the overall track. Later on, we do switch it up and keep it interesting as we play. So we play a couple different octaves, as you can see here. And then what we have going on in our guitar effects change, so this can become pretty dicey if you're inexperienced, but we have a noise gate here, removing some of the amp buzz that we get that's naturally there. A compressor that's going to keep a lot of everything consistent, because the way I play, I can be a little light or a little hard. This just makes sure that the way I play is more consistent. An EQ here with fob filter is going to help kind of shape it and help clean it up. And then thermal adds a little grit and a little width to everything. Dry, the guitar would sound like this. And then with everything active. And that's pretty much it. So if you ever have any questions on how I go about making beats or what kind of plugins and mixing styles I do, reach out anytime. You can find me on Instagram. Stay gold.